Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Cruising with Pete and John. I'm Pete in the UK.
And I am John in the middle of Minnesota, and hello, Pete.
Hi John, you're not going to believe this, yeah? This is not a wind-up, this is not a joke, this is not an April Fool, yeah? The BBC have been reporting that they're going to restart work on a brand new Titanic cruise ship, yeah? Can you believe it? A replica of the original Titanic. Now John, do you think that's a really good idea? So people can experience going on one of the most famous ships ever built? Or do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think it disrespects the 1,503 people that perished on the original Titanic? What are your thoughts, mate?
Well, I thought about it long and hard, and I think it's a good idea. And I think it is because of all the publicity that's now been going on. I don't even remember, when did the movie come out? But because of that, and people have talked about it so much, the movie gave it so much hype. And of course, you know, a lot of the things that happened on the movie were not real. But the ability to actually, in real life, walk down some of the alleyways, to be in the grand ballroom, to be in the big dining rooms, and the cabins are going to be, as close as they can, actual replicas in 3 classes of what you actually experienced on the original Titanic, to me is an honor and respectful recreation, and not in any way a degradation to the folks that lost their life. No different than when we travel. Americans, you know, are big to go to Germany and visit the war sites.
Yeah, you say original, John. You know that there wasn't just one Titanic. The Titanic was had 2 sister ships. It had the Olympic, and it also had the Britannic. So it wasn't an original. There were 3 ships.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Britannic, unfortunately, got sank. It sank during the First World War. But the Olympic actually served all the way to 1935, can you believe?
Wow.
And they scrapped it.
And isn't that strange that we, even then, you know, we talk about our throwaway society now, but even then, it's like, well, that's not cost effective for us. We see no place in history for this, even though it was so tied to an exact replica, or, you know, sister ships, as you say. So let's just cut it up, and who knows where that metal is today? That metal could have become part of British cars, tunnels, bridges, and it could have been recycled many, many times since that 1935 end that happened to that ship.
Yes, and what a shame there wasn't someone with a sort of vision of Clive Palmer is the man behind this. He's Australian, and he reckons it's going to be about $500 million to build the ship. Can you believe that?
Well, and I think that when it's all said and done, you're actually going to see a much higher price. You know, these things have a creep, like any estimation does. When they do the Olympics and they say, well, we're going to spend X amount of billions of dollars, and it just creeps, and it creeps a little higher. And I think you're going to see that with this too before it's done. That's why this is actually the second start on this. It started in 2012 and dumped in 2015. Safety concerns, making the ship meet today's modern standards. A whole lot of things kind of stopped him then, and now, of course, we're hitting it again. And he's made arrangements with the company to lay the keel. It's in kind of the final graphic stage now. You know, the plan. Imagine all of the plans that have to go in, the miles and miles of cable. And I can tell you that it's probably a good thing that the 2012 version didn't get built, because the technology from 2012 for customer comfort versus the technology in just 2019, we have made giant jumps. As you look at the new ships that are coming out, the new Virgin Atlantic ship that's coming, and the others from Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Princess, all of the different ships, the creature comforts have jumped so much in the last 5-6 years that I think it's going to be a real asset to this ship, that they can hide things, they use wireless, just the kind of things that they can do that just happened in the few years of making the ship at kind of the end of one kind of technology and the beginning of this kind of technology is going to really up the customer experience.
Well, apparently it's passed its wave testing, so it's all go. But do you think it's a good idea? What about all the people that perished? What about the families of the people that perished? Yeah, I know a lot of people in Southampton, where it sailed from originally, they don't think it's a good idea at all.
You know, I respect their feelings, and I certainly do not in any way discount that. But I guess my question would be is what are we taking away by doing this? We're not, other than being above the site, which many ships have stopped at. On the Titanic anniversary, many ships have stopped and done a memorial service. So to recreate the journey and stop there, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I would not try and talk somebody out of their feelings. I respect their feelings, but to me, here in America, as we're a very young country, as you guys kid us a lot of times. Matter of fact, I had a foreign exchange student, my number 7 foreign exchange student's house from Germany. His house is older than our country. So we got a lot of mileage out of that. But as our country, as our country was being formed, especially up here, we're new here. 1880 is when this area was settled. And of course, during that time, there was a lot of cemeteries that were just kind of built out of need as people died and plagues and sickness came through. And there's a lot of family plots around here. And now with ditching and construction and stuff that's going in, we have to do a lot of grave moving. And that's happening. John. And so we are involved in this. My family was just involved in it a couple of years ago. And so this is a question I would pose to you as part of the bigger Titanic question. My cousins had 6 graves that they had to move to make way for a ditch. And they didn't have a choice on that. The state says, we're moving a ditch through here. It's on your land, but there's a small family plot there that we're not going to just, burrow through. And so the husband was on the township board. He was in charge of doing this. So the state came out with archaeologists and things, and they very carefully located the graves under the stones, and students came out and started digging this up. And one was an 8-year-old boy, and they found the remains of the casket. They found some of the body, or parts of it was still there, and in his pocket was a dime from like 1892 or so. That dime today is worth over $15,000.
Wow.
And as part of capturing all of this and putting it in bags, and then it went over to the university for some testing and stuff, but then it was brought back and put to a corner in the cemetery, all of the family laid out just the way they were, the remains laid out respectfully, just the way that they had been in this family plot. And then the not ancestors, the heirs of the family were asked, what would you like us to do with the dime? What would you have done with the dime, Pete?
To be honest with you, I would have given it to the family.
But the family, the family were asked, what would you like to do with the dime? We can send it to you. We can donate it somewhere. We can place it back in the new. Well,
okay, I'll put it in the museum so other people can see it. That's what I would do.
The family requested that it be put back in with the bones of the 8-year-old and reburied.
I mean, do you think it's because, obviously you're in the USA, I'm in the UK, and as you said, your history sort of started quite recently, and we have so much history going back for so long. Do you think we're being kind of overprotective of our history?
I can't judge that, but I can tell you that had I been the heir that had been asked, what would the son of my great-great-great-great-grandfather, had there been a dime or a coin or something found in a grave that way, and I'm a religious guy, Pete. I think of myself as a very religious man. I would not have had a problem in taking that dime out. I would have thought of it as a paid forward gift, and I would have taken that dime out, and I would have done something I would not have kept the money and had a party, but I would have done something with the value of that dime. I would have not have placed it back in the ground. But that was their family's choice. I respect it, and in the same way I respect this. But I think that for me, it's okay to do the Titanic too. It's my choice.
Yeah, but do you think then, John, the fact that it's going to do the same route, it's going to go Southampton to New York, the same route the original Titanic did, do you think that's making it worse? If it's sort of cruising around the Mediterranean or cruising around the Caribbean, I mean, they are talking about a world tour from Dubai as well. That would kind of be kind of okay. But the fact is, the original, a design of the original ship is doing exactly the same route that the original Titanic did. And that kind of brings back all the terrible memories of the suffering.
Yes, I think that's a problem. But yes, and I didn't mean to step on you there, Pete. I think that's a problem. But I think if I can put in my future vision glasses, here's what's going to happen. Nobody other than maybe Virgin, our good friend, and I say that I've never met him, but our good friend Richard Branson seems to have the magic touch, and he can do a one-off cruise ship, and it might work. But I can tell you this, I predict that this gentleman is going to make this ship. He's going to run it for a little while, and it's going to make money because it's just such a big deal. But he will quickly lose the ability to have it sustain itself, and it will be taken up by another cruise ship company.
It's interesting you say that. Sorry, John. It's interesting you say that because you're talking about 2,435 passengers, but he wants to have the Titanic as it was. He's talking about no internet. He's talking about no television. He's talking about 3 classes, and he's talking about those classes not mingling with each other, which is crazy. And he's obviously talking about people dressing up as they would, but how many people are going to want to do that?
I'm telling you, that's going to last about 5 cruises. Watch, mark it down. Reitmeyer says, and I'm willing to stand behind that. We will have shows in the future, Pete, and we'll cut out what John says here. And if there's egg on my face, you can get a great big pie of whipped cream, and you can slap me silly if you want. We'll do slapstick, but I predict that, I don't know how it is. Well, I do know how it is in the trains. I've never been on the trains in England much, but in America, there are people that dress up in the train garments of the 1800s and get on Amtrak and go for rides. But that's one couple on a train that I see once or twice a year. That's a real small group of people to get on and have that experience on the Titanic. And I predict that it's going to be a real fast drop-off.
Well, they're talking about the Titanic. They're talking about it launching again in 2022, John. Yeah. What's really interesting, is one question. Would you go on the inaugural Titanic sailing from Southampton to New York, the Titanic 2? Would you go on it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Yes, I'm just wondering about this kind of little bit of fate, If the Titanic was delayed a year to 2023, that would be 111 years after the original sailing of the Titanic, yeah? Now,
I predict it will be delayed at least that much.
Yeah, 111 is an unlucky number in a very English game called cricket. And do you know why it's an unlucky number? Do you know why?
No, I don't.
It's called Nelson, yeah? I'm talking about Admiral Nelson, Battle of Trafalgar. You got Nelson's column in Trafalgar Square. It's an unlucky number, yeah? Because he ended up with one eye, one arm, and one leg. So you kind of wonder about fate, if the Titanic 2 sailing 111 years after the original one and an unlucky number there. I don't think I want to be on that ship, to be honest with you.
Okay. I would do that because I know that they have to meet all the standards of the modern technology. I do, though, predict that there will be internet on the ship. There will be televisions hidden behind screens in the room. I think that this is a marketing ploy on his part right now. But, there just has to be these things. I watched when cell phones right now, to use a phone on the ship, it's $1 and some a minute. And there are guys that are using those cell phones like they are calling their girlfriend in the next city, and they are doing business morning, noon, and night on the ships. They don't care the
Yeah.
cost. And
Yeah.
there's no ship is going to take off. I don't care if it's the Southampton to New York run on the Titanic 2's Virgin outing. He can say that all he wants, but when it comes time to book those cabins, unless it's all freebies for guys like you and me that are doing promotion,
I mean, I have to say,
even we want the ability to transmit up to the satellite and back down to do our news reports. So,
I mean, what a Photoshop, what a great photograph to get. Yeah, the Titanic sailing past the Statue of Liberty. Can you imagine that?
Got to have it. Got to have it.
That's going to get publicity all over the world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely.
Well,
So,
I mean, all those watching, everybody watching this, please let us know what you think. Do you think it's a good idea to go on to have a new Titanic 2 cruise ship? Do you think it's a bad idea? It disrespects all the people that perished on it. Please let us know what you think, yeah?
please do that. Please subscribe, of course, down below. Please hit that bell so that we can let you know when we have another show coming out. But yeah, let us know. We're going to have a couple of years here to see how this goes. The keel laying is going to be the big thing, because that means that he has raised $500-600 million, and then it's going to be real. And then we're going to start seeing, and I think that you're going to see as it goes along from there, that they're going to change their mind on some of these things that seem real fixed right now. And I'm looking forward to the food. You know, we do have the menus, and we're going to see if how that menu is going to hold. I wonder if there's going to be a buffet. You know, of course.
I know that the people who sailed third class, actually ate 3 times a day and ate very well.
In third class, down on the bottom.
Yeah, they ate very well. You know, so let's see what happens. Okay, John. Well, thanks for watching. I'm not convinced that it's actually ever going to get built, but we'll wait and see. Thanks for watching. Let's Talk Cruising. I'm Pete in the UK. That was John in the USA. And please subscribe. Press the button. Thank you.
Stand on the Titanic, sing dear my God to thee. The icebergs on the stars.